He kicked his sick wife out with nothing but $12 and a trash bag. Now, he wants to live in her $750. 000 homie is a janitor. Look at you, sick. Useless. Nothing but a burden. Take this trash bag and $12. It's more than you deserve. Get out of my house. Those were the words of a man who once swore to love her in sickness and in health. Weak. Abandoned. Claire Hayes staggered into the street with nothing but her pain and a bag of rags. He thought he had destroyed her, mocked her illness, ended her story. But life has a way of flipping the script. That same woman, cast out with $12 to her name, now owns a home worth $1. $75 million, and the man who mocked her is begging to work under her roof as a janitor. Sometimes, the ones you trample rise in ways you could never imagine. Sometimes, the burden you discard becomes the person who holds your future. Hello, family. Welcome back. Before we dive in, a small but heartfelt request. Subscribe. Every click helps share stories that might otherwise be forgotten. Drop a comment below telling us where you're watching from and how this story touches you. Claire Hayes sat on her couch, trembling from fever, skin pale, lips dry, clutching her chest as a sharp pain cut through. Sick for months, her body failing. But the worst pain wasn't the illness, it was the look in her husband's eyes. David Hayes stood over her, face twisted with contempt. Once charming, full of sweet words. Now he looked at her like garbage. You're sick, useless, worthless. You can't cook. You can't clean. You can't even take care of yourself. What good are you to me? Claire tried to speak. David, I just need time, a doctor said. Treatment? He cut her off with a laugh. Do you think I'm made of money? Pills. Doctor visits. Special food. It's never ending. You're nothing but a burden. Her eyes filled with tears. I loved you when you had something to offer. He spat, striding into the bedroom. Moments later, he returned with a black trash bag, yanking her clothes off hangers, her handmade sweater, her late mother's scarf, stuffing them in like rags. David, please, Claire whispered, trying to rise, collapsing back onto the couch. The street wide open. He sneered, tying the bag shut and tossing it at her feet. Then, from a crumpled wallet, he held out a single bill. Here, $12. More than you deserve. Claire stared, stunned. $12. He shoved it into her hand. Consider it your inheritance for wasting my life. Now get out. Her legs felt like lead, but she stood. David opened the front door, bowing mockingly. After you, my lady. Time to leave my house. The cool night air hit her like ice. She looked back once, hoping for a flicker of remorse. Instead, he smirked. Good riddance. Neighbors peeked through blinds. Mrs. Green whispered to her husband. The Parker boys snickered. David's voice carried across the street. Don't pity her. She's a gold digger who drained me dry. I'm finally free. Claire gasped. David, why are you saying that? But he ignored her, painting her as unstable. A liar. Her knees weakened. It's not true. She tried, voice lost in the cold wind. David leaned closer, hissing. See? Nobody cares. You're nothing now. Dragged by the trash bag, each step heavier than the last, Claire collapsed on a bench at the edge of the block. The cold wood pressed into her back. The bag hugged to her chest. What do I do now? She whispered. Are you all right, Mom? A stranger, middle-aged with kind eyes and a paper bag of groceries, appeared. Claire shook her head. I have $12. He smiled softly. Then maybe tonight you'll have 13. He handed her a crumpled dollar. Claire stared. Don't give up. Sometimes the ones thrown away are the ones life has bigger plans for. His words planted a tiny spark in her ashes. That night, clutching $13 in a trash bag, Claire didn't feel invisible. Her story was only beginning. Days passed, in survival mode street benches, cheap cup noodles, and whispers that cut deeper than any shove. Her health faltered, but small acts of kindness, a sandwich from a stranger, a warm word, reminded her she was still human. She whispered to herself, "I will not die here. Tomorrow can still change." Eventually, she found a boarding house, the smell of bleach and loneliness. Cash only, 1 week at a time. Share bathroom, small, cramped room. The next morning, she walked into a diner. Shaky hands. "Hiring?" she asked. Linda, the manager, hesitated, then nodded. "Wipe tables. Vash dishes. Ring up orders. Long hours. Daily pay." Claire nodded, and she began. "Huh. Vet. Backbreaking work." She dropped pans, got laughed at, but she kept going. Gossip followed her, but she ignored it. Nights spent writing, organizing her thoughts, tracking David's betrayal insurance stolen, jewelry pawned, name poisoned. A flyer for a free clinic led her to Thomas Avery, a kind man running the Maple Community Center. "You look like you're holding on by threads," he said. "Food boxes, clinic appointments, trust, guidance." He noticed her resilience, and soon she was organizing the center's ledger, balancing receipts, creating order from chaos. Thomas introduced his nephew Jacob, Otanvis. Together, they taught her modern tool spreadsheets, online records, alerts. Slowly, Claire regained control. Health improved, food strengthened her, dignity restored. She saved enough to buy a small rental property, a rundown 2-unit she fixed up and rented out. Each success built confidence and wealth. Meanwhile, David and his mistress Jessica flaunted theirs on social media vacations. Jewelry, restaurants, but cracks appeared. Creditors called. Contracts lost. Their mansion of lies began to crumble. Claire flipped properties for profit, growing her net worth $250, then $500, each milestone proof of her rising. Then came the mansion, abandoned, foreclosed, worth $750,000. Claire signed the papers. Her first night in her new home. Thomas poured champagne, from $12 in a trash bag to this. He toasted. She smiled, already imagining David knocking on her door, begging to work. And weeks later, he did. David Hayes, once proud, now in a staffing agency uniform, reporting to Monica Reed. Custodial duties, mopping marble, dusting corners, following orders. Claire, now MS. Bennett, owner of the home, watched. "You threw me out with a trash bag. Today I give you one with a paycheck." Every day, David scrubbed floors, paper cup shaking in his hands. Jacob monitored. Thomas observed. Each shift, each order, each reminder of his humiliation. A man who mocked her now depended on her authority. Claire never needed revenge. She had patience, resilience, and control. When David begged for mercy, she reminded him, "You gave me $12 to start over. I turned it into $750. Greed devours itself. Betrayal rots its own house. And today, you clean floors in the home you once mocked me for never owning." David lowered his head, broken, returning to the mop. Claire sat in her mansion's library with Thomas and Jacob, sipping tea, finally seeing herself again. Patience, resilience, and quiet power had rewritten her story. The woman with a trash bag and $12 was gone. In her place stood a woman who had risen from ashes, unstoppable and in control. Betrayal may win in the moment, but patience and resilience rewrite the ending. Never underestimate the one you trample.